So, as you can see, my little guys are teeny tiny compared to the size of the world. And I'm eventually going to have to get rid of a bunch of different things. Let me change my speed of my camera just a little bit so I can move a little faster. We'll go up to 6. Come on, move up to 6 for me, please. Thank you. All right, so I can actually move and do things. Now I'm going to get rid of these. Actually, no, I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm going to leave them there. And I have them grouped. So when I move those 4 guys, they all move in the same, move at the same time, basically. But what I'm going to do, now that I've got my friggin' scale fixed, I'm going to zoom towards the center of the map, which is not quite right. Okay, well, we're just going to work right here then. Because see, my default scale did not work well with what the conversion of Nargenstal did. Eventually I can put this in the center. I can add more components on the outside edge and all this stuff. But right now we're going to work with what we've got and ignore the rest. So anyway, I need to move. Okay, now this is another problem. I can't do my landscaping unless I add more components. Okay, guys, figured out that issue. What it is I had to enable landscape mode. It's one of those little things that I'm not 100% familiar with yet, so I'm working hard on it. And as I go, I'm going to hopefully figure this out. So normally in landscape mode, you're going to open it up and it's going to go to the sculpt mode. You don't want that yet. We want to go to manage and we want to add components. Then it's going to allow you to add pieces to the bottom of your world. So I'm going to add this one and it's going to do the same kind of texturing about it. But we're going to add enough that I have room to put trees and things. So let's go ahead and zoom out best I can. And we're going to add a good chunk to this because of the fact that I want to have room to put all the different texturing and far visuals and things on there. So we're going to go ahead and just make this huge. I should have changed it to just a 32 by 32 when I first created the world, which I still might do because we're not that far into designing anything. So actually, I think that's what I might do. Okay, so get rid of my landscape. We're going to do it this way. Delete the landscape. Start over. So we're going to go to a landscape mode and we're going to go section size perfect. We're going to go number of components. We can go maximum 32. So even though that's freaking massive, we're going to go 32 by 32 just to give us the extra size we need. So we're just going to go ahead and create it. And hopefully this works this time. I really apologize for it to being kind of start, stop, but it's just one of those things that if you're not familiar with things, you can really have issues. So we're going to go ahead and get back into select mode. Now that I have my landscape, we're going to go here and we're going to go back in and do the same thing we did before. We're going to go my stuff, my materials, and then we're going to drag the texture onto it. And there you can see Unreal paused because this is a massive map. And then I need to find my 4 little guys, which highlight them. There they are. And I think they're hiding under the map. There we go. You can't see them very good because it's so far away. Get down here to their scale. There they are. All right, so now we need to go in and double check our scale, which it's going to be a little, let's see, where's the center of my thing really? Roughly right where I am. I'm going to go to this one up here. That's going to be roughly the center. And we're going to check our scale. Zoom. Okay, now let's go to the side view because we can see it a little better with side view. And my settings are still set to 0.0348. So it's really hard to see this level because they're so tiny at the scale. Let's see, pull you back over here and go back up in the sky a little bit. So I'm not, oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? I lost you. There you are. Haha. All right, so get these guys lined up roughly. And we're still set at that scale, that 0.0348 or 0.00348. So that looks about right. So now we're good there. All right. And we have much more real estate to work with making our world. So what we need to do is file, save all. That way we save our map. Now comes the fun part. Now that we have this as a texture, what are you? Oh, that's my original plane. Get rid of that because I don't need it. Okay, now comes the fun part. What you can do is start sculpting this terrain to match this map. So bear with me. This is going to be a fun trial to see if I know what I'm doing, but we're going to try it. All right, so we're going to change back to landscape mode. We're going to change to sculpt, and we're going to use the sculpt tool. And as you can see, it makes a circle on my screen. That is the size of my brush. So brush size is going to be way too big to do a lot of this stuff. So we're going to bring the brush size down a little bit. And then we need to, if I do just a straight left click, it's going to make a bump in the world. Can't really see it yet because I have the settings set really low. So we're going to go erase that. There we go. And then we are going to grab this. We're going to do tool strength up to about 0.5 and test that. You can see the bump starting to appear. Okay, we don't want that. Let's back out of that. All right, so now to get the river and things look like a depression, we're going to hold down Shift and start working. Oops, that's Control. Wrong button. Wrong button. Okay, Shift. And there it's going to start dropping it down. Now it looks like my tool strength might be a little heavy. Yeah, we're pretty darn heavy there. So let's back up. And, okay, and da-da-da-da. Brush fall off. I don't want my strength that high. We're going to go 0.3. Oh, 0.3. All right, now let's back out a little bit and try it. So Shift. And bring in our sculpting here. And we're going to have to work through this just a little bit and play with the views and different things to get it to go right. But we're just laying out the rough contours right now. And so let's go beyond there because I'm not sure if that's just a marsh or if it's a river or what. I haven't read that far into the details of the world. So we're going to go this way. Bring this down to match the rest. Roughly match the rest. We don't want a perfectly solid thing. And once we get the rough sculpting done, then we can sit down and start playing with texturing and painting the textures so we can actually start working on it. But I'm going to get a rough idea of what the texture is going to look like. I'm going to increase my brush size now since I'm not right into the middle of the river, and I'm going to bring this down to roughly the same height, quite a ways out here. And like I said before, this is all trial and error. I don't know 100% what I'm doing, but I'm sure going to try. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And come on, get down there. All right. So now I'm going to do the flatten tool. So I can get a little, I'm actually going to smooth it. Go ahead and smooth some of this. Get rid of the flatten. And we're just going to smooth it out so it's not quite so bumpy in the riverbed. And we can always make that a little better once we get this done. But I want to make a fairly smooth area to work with. All right, so we've got that. We've got it dropped down, so we are actually sculpting the river. I don't think this is a very deep river, so we can go ahead and keep sculpting, but I'm going to bring my size of my brush down, and I want to do minus to get my river. And I'm still on the smooth tool, haha. Can't see what I'm doing. Let's get down here. Okay, it looks like they have a Fjord there, so we'll have to figure that out. I don't want to make this too light here. And by smoothing it out, sometimes it'll take the exact, what it does is it picks the spot at the middle of my circle where my crosshairs is, and that's the level it's going to smooth it to. So it can really cause issues if you don't watch what you're doing. So I learned that the hard way working on Nargenstal the first time. Okay, so let's see. This is a fjord here. Where's that? That's the drawbridge. Okay, so that can be deep. That's the moat. But over here, there's a fjord, or ford, which tells me it's shallow enough to walk through. Okay, so that means I need Manny. Where are you at? Where are you hiding? Shift 1. Back to select mode and bring Manny over here so I don't get it too deep. Which means I have to adjust the depth of my river again. But anyway, because otherwise the river would not flow correctly. If I left a big saddle, so to speak, where this fjord is, I gotta back up so I can see where the fjord is. Right where he's standing, there's a fjord going across. So let's keep him in mind when we set the depth of that. We don't want it too deep. We're going to set him the height of the ground. Oops. Height of the ground by hitting end. And we're going to pull him this direction. So he's at the height of the ground right there. So that means this has to come up. Bring that back up and bring to shift 2 to do. Nope, nope, nope. Back up, get out of that menu, then do shift 2. Switches me over. Okay, now sculpt. We need to bring this back up because I, once again, got it way too deep. So we need to get it up almost to the height of his feet because we don't want it like waist deep to fjord across, or I'm going to put rocks across. So I want to get down a little bit further. Okay, there. Now I'm going to move my camera speed back down to 4 so it doesn't jump all over. So let's make this about that deep so that I can put big boulders so he can walk across. No, I don't want smooth. I want to flatten. Bring that back up again since I boo-booed. Okay, so I want to make flatten. I'm going to flatten it to about that height. Because if I put boulders in there, I'm probably worrying too much about this, but I want to make it so they can walk across like it says. So we're going to make it this height. All right, so most of this will be hidden by the, we're going to make it a little bit shallower, I think. Just a tad bit shallower. Right there, or a little bit deeper, right there. All right, so back we go again to the drawing board. Because I don't want to have, if I was doing this exactly right compared to erosion and the type of stuff that Anna Meyer does, I'd be really worried about making it perfect. But right now, I'm just playing. I'm not even doing an official project or anything. So we're going to play and get it right until we're just feeling confident. Because I'm going to put a water plane in here anyway that's going to hide a lot of this. So I want to have it deep enough that it hides the water plane easily. I'm going to go a little deeper. Little deeper. So I have a little more room to play with the water plane. Yeah, that should work, I think. Best way to do this would be to just bring in a water plane. So let's do that. Let's bring in a water plane to our area. And I believe Unreal Sensei has a really good water plane in his stuff. And the landscaping thing he has, where is it? Unreal Sensei, landscape, water plane. That's landscape thingy, maps, materials, water plane, material, water depth instance, meshes. That's what I'm looking for. Water plane, there it is, meshes. We're going to bring that in, and we're going to bring it up, And then we're gonna scale it because it's way too small right now. And we're gonna make it the size of Nargenstal. So we need to do some serious scaling here. Select the water plane. Thank you. Okay, now scale is this one. And we're gonna do a scale so it does in all three directions at once. Actually, no, I don't want to do all three. I want to do just these two because I don't want it any deeper than a plane. So we're gonna go big like that, and we're gonna keep going until we have the entire thing hidden underneath this one water plane. Now, I didn't make this, and I don't know if Unreal Sensei made it, but if he did a phenomenal job. But this actually comes as part of packs a lot of times. So we're going to keep increasing the size, and then we're going to move it a little bit because we got it plenty big enough. And now we'll move it into place that way. We're going to go just a little bit bigger, so I don't have to worry about fixing it a little later. Come on, go bigger, bigger. There, that looks a little better. Back to moving. I'm gonna zoom back out with my camera, and I'm working way too slow again. Grr, 6. Set it to 6. All right, back out so I can see. Now select my water plane. No, the water plane, thank you. Water plane. It's pretty decent sized. We're gonna center it just a little bit better though. Like a that. Okay, now I don't want to select you. Thank you. Now I need to do a little bit cleanup here. So I need to do a folder lighting. Put you in there, you in there. Post process needs to go in there. Sky and atmosphere, skylight. And then we're going to make a folder in Nargenstal called landscape, where we're going to have our main landscape file and our water plane, and hide those. And then we're going to have a folder called mannequins, which I'm going to take all of these guys and put them in there. So we're nice and neat and organized. Okay, now back to what I was doing. Okay, and as you can see, this water has a little bit of texture to it, and if you look close, it's got a lot of texture repetition, but we're not going to worry about that right now. It's more or less for a reference. So let's see, the fjord. We don't want him too deep. We want it to be walkable. So let's do mannequin is selected. There he's on the surface of the water. So now I want to do, why are you so far off center? Static mesh actor. What is it grabbing? I don't see it. It's grabbing something here. Where are my 4 guys at? Group. Bring them up on the water. So that's those. Static mesh actor. I don't know what this is. Static mesh actor instance. So we're going to delete it. I don't know what that is. Delete. Now get a hold of you and bring you up a little bit. Back to sculpting tools. We're going to flatten. All right, so I want to bring bring this up a little more, I think. Sorry, guys, I had to get a drink. This fjord might cause a few problems because I want to make sure the river's deep enough that it flows nicely, but I'll have to make some nice big flat boulders that they can walk across if they do. Because it doesn't look like it's the main crossways. According to the map, it goes into the marshes. So marshes would not be that deep, and I don't think the river is going to be that deep either. So we're going to adjust that yet again. Where is my mannequin? He's right there. Okay. So I don't want it any more than 6 feet deep. So let's get out of that mode. Bring back him. Bring him back over land. And drop him so I know what height he's at that height. And then we're going to drop him down a little more, almost the height of him. We'll make it about 6 feet deep to put the boulders and stuff in. So let's see, make his head right about the height of that. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. And I can always make the rest of the river a little deeper, but this Fjord section I want to make sure is this deep. So go back to sculpting. Whoops, sculpting. And we're going to raise it up right underneath him until his little feetsies touch the surface of the thingy. Landscape. I'm going to hide my water plane temporarily so I can see what I'm doing. And we're going to raise it up so his feet's just, whoa, not quite that far. Just about touch. For this section only, and then I'm going to make the rest of the river a little bit deeper. All right, there we go. Now, bring ourselves up a little bit. So if we get out of sculpting mode and we grab a hold of him and move him over, his footsies should just about touch that. Yeah, perfect. Okay, now move him up out of the way. Go back to sculpting, sculpting, flatten. We want to flatten right here. We want to flatten. Come on. Just this section that says it's a fjord. So we want to do this right here as a shallower portion of the river. All right, so that's the fjord. So now I want to go a little bit deeper with this, but I want to smooth it so the water plane can still go over it. I want to show the water plane up to cover this, but I don't want to soak Manny. We'll put it waist deep on Manny. Yeah, that works, I think. And we'll drop it down just a hair. There we go. So if they fall in, it's waist deep, but it's not horribly deep. There we go. Now we'll hide that so I can't get a hold of it. And we're going to do some more landscape sculpting. True. Flatten. We're going to flatten the rest of the river to this level. I want to flatten this section to this level because this is a fjord. Bring it back a little more here. Make sure I've got it all to that height. Don't have any funny artifacts. And then the rest of the river is going to be brought to this level. Okay, guys, I finally have a height system that I'm happy with. What we have here, I'm going to get out of sculpting so I don't accidentally change something. What I've done is, this is where the fjord is. Oops. Go up above my world, and you can see there's a fjord marked on here. You can't read the lettering, but it's supposed to be a spot where people can walk across or take wagons across. And right now I made it so if Manny is standing in there about 6 foot deep, it's about waist deep. So they can bring, you know, things through, but it's going to be about waist deep. I might end up going a little higher than that just for posterity, because if they take wagons through, that's going to be pretty deep. Yeah, let's make that a little bit shallower right there. Just a little bit. We'll go mid-thigh. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, now Shift 2 and sculpt. We'll bring this spot underneath him up to his footsies, roughly, and flatten it to his foot. Let's see. Oh, how high do I have that? He's, oh, it's a little higher than his feet. Okay, so let's go. Sculpting. Bring it down. Not that part, this part. Bring it down, and then bring it back up to meet his feet. We're going to take this level right here. And that's a good depth for pulling a wagon across, I think. Yeah, that looks better. Because it'll be up to about half wheel. So yeah, that'd be a good spot right there. Sorry I'm so indecisive here, guys, but I'm just kind of like making this from scratch on how to do all this stuff. So yeah, we're going to continue to play with it. This is meant to be fun for me and not a big hurry, rush, get this done, do this, you know. No, I don't want to work like that. To me, that's not fun. So we're going to go ahead and bring the rest of the river up to this height, because I've decided I'm going to keep it a little deeper other than where the fjord is. So that way we can get our rowboats and things through. Even though rowboats can go into an area that's like waist deep, I still don't want to have it that narrow, that shallow. All right. So now let's save this. Save all. All right. And I'm going to hide the water plane so I can see what I'm doing with the landscape a little better. And now we just need to flatten it all out. Again. But like I said, it's trial and error to get it exactly like I want it. And then once that's done, then we can have a lot of fun with it. Then we can have the fun painting it and doing all this fun stuff. And we're going to bring this back out a little closer to what they have for a shoreline. I want to be careful not to get too close here to where my fjord goes across. And yeah, we're just going to keep playing here. And this is all marshy. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that yet, but we'll figure it out. All right, so let's get this all to the same depth along here. I just want to make sure I get rid of all the artifacts, because the artifacts are what causes issues with shadows and things. And yeah, I don't want to have that. So we don't need it super deep there. We have a pretty significant drop off yet, but it's not horrible. So we can easily smooth that out with the rocks and things like that to hide it. So it's going to be a lot wetter over here than what it is on Nargenstal. So we're going to have to raise the landscape of Nargenstal up a little bit so it doesn't, you know, so it's not like a marshland. Okay, guys, I think I have it set up now. So most of my landscape is the way I want it, or the riverbed is the way I want it.